I do want to get into the stock to flow model, but we'll hold that off for a moment because I kind of want to dive into this news today about Elon just because it's current event, it's relevant, and kind of tie that into this like general push to decentralization, almost like free marketing we've seen for Bitcoin over the last like 6 to 12 months. So we've got this news about Elon today offering to buy Twitter. A lot of that seems to be driven by his belief that Twitter isn't fully advocating for free speech. They're censoring people, all that kind of thing. In addition to this, we've seen, the whole Canada trucker situation and whether you agree with that or not. And, kind of putting the politics aside, the fact of the matter is, you had people within the country that got their, essentially just savings accounts and bank accounts frozen without any kind of due process. And we've also got recently kind of the most, relevant of all these, in my opinion, has been the freezing essentially of Russia's reserves and essentially, cutting out of Russia from the financial system. So, either you guys, I mean, we could just riff on this, I feel like, for a long time, but, I think generally you've just seen this huge push and basically, free marketing on a global stage for why decentralization is so important and basically really highlighting kind of the value proposition of Bitcoin as a store of value.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't been on Twitter much lately the last 2 months, so I just had to look it up and was like, okay, so he's offering to buy it at $54 per share. I noticed he turned down his board appointment, which would have restricted him to a cap in Twitter stock. Was it 14% or something? I forget. And he rejected that. So it looks like he's wanting to require it fully, well, obviously, but it's interesting because it's a very centralized approach, and I just find it interesting because this is kind of like a benevolent dictator model, which kind of works really well for a time until that person passes or they turn evil. But yeah, I think like it's a smart move because that's where the user base is, and that's what, we can talk about that, right? It's like you could build any number of decentralized Twitter and you won't get anywhere because you can't break the network effect that Twitter already has. Like anyone can build Facebook in terms of a product. Whether or not you can move that social network effect across into another thing, it's unbreakable. So it makes a lot of sense that you would buy out the existing, and from there, if you want to make it more protocol based, like I think some of the promise Twitter had in the early days was really much, it could have been a protocol of the internet, another layer of the internet, because apps were using it to message each other, and it was quite interesting until it got the board level exec decisions were, oh no, we will turn this into media and we will do advertising model. And it really shut down the full potentiality of what Twitter could have been. Like a whole apps ecosystem was connecting into it, and that got all shut down. And in a way, it went against what the internet was about. And so I'd be interested to see what Musk does with it if he acquires it, whether or not it becomes much more back to its roots of really pure engineering, grassroots engineering, and kind of, like you let it go. Like it's like letting Bitcoin go to the masses, and letting it be free, and let the ecosystem decide, compared to like a very centralized, altcoin project, which you see plenty of, where the founding team continue to, like a lot of DeFi is really, it's just centralized finance with a blockchain layer, on it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it, but yeah, I like that. I feel like I trust the character of Elon Musk more than I trust the ownership of Twitter. If you look at it, it's Elon Musk, and then like BlackRock. Do you guys know Fidelity? There's a whole bunch of big money people, big money banking circles, and I feel like the world we live in is very much controlled by that kind of money, which have a very particular agenda that's being pushed. These are the same people that push the ESG agenda, that's back against Bitcoin. So I think there's a lot of hidden agendas that are that push through from the ownership of media companies, and so I feel like this is like nice, you know, it's like something from outside of that fraternity taking over something that's relatively important. Yeah.